Good evening, I'm Brendan Miller. Thanks for joining us. We begin with Thunder Bay Mayor Ken Boshkoff as he will be delivering his State of the City address at Monday's council meeting. It will be the first council meeting of the new year. Boshkoff will outline some of the accomplishments, challenges, and opportunities that arose in 2024. The mayor will then shift focus and look ahead at some of the goals for the coming year. The theme of the address is building on strength, planning for growth. With the likelihood of a federal election this year, it's been widely speculated that a provincial election may also be on the horizon. Thunder Bay Superior North MPP Lise Vaugeois says they've been anticipating the Ford government would call one since last spring, but thinks there's no reason for a provincial election right now.
We know that they wanted to get out and actually campaign against the Trudeau government, even though it's a provincial government. They have a majority. There's no reason to have a provincial election. There's no need. Now that the federal election is in play, everything's up in the air again, and I'm not sure that anybody knows. I'm sure that Premier Ford knows.
Vaugeois says if one does happen, her party will be ready and she'll be running again. She also notes that Premier Ford might be trying to get out in front of a Poilievre government.
I think that if we have a Poilievre government, we're going to see some pretty dramatic cuts to public services. And I think it will be harder to sell the Conservative brand if that government is in place. So he has wanted to get out ahead of that. There's also, historically, there have never been Conservative federal and Conservative provincial in Ontario before. So he's also kind of hedging his bets in terms of those statistics.
We now move to the federal government because 2024 ended in a train wreck for the Liberal federals and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. After Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance Chrystia Freeland resigned, there were loud calls from members of Parliament in all parties for Trudeau to do the same. Despite the demands for his resignation, the Prime Minister has been steadfast in his position, even going so far as reshuffling 8 cabinet members to keep some semblance of stability in the Liberal government. At this point in time, prorogation or pausing of Parliament seems inevitable, as the Liberals attempt to salvage their crumbling fortunes. Thunder Bay Rainy River MP Marcus Pulowski says he does believe prorogation is a good idea and is still confident in the party's chances if the Liberals find a new leader.
The Prime Minister obviously is facing a lot of dissent. I think a lot of people are hoping that what happens is we prorogue Parliament, we have a leadership race, and we get a new leader. I mean, yes, we would be using it politically to regroup, but it would kind of put us in a position where I think we could go into it and a real election.
We now bring things back to Thunder Bay. The RFDA may have to shift their fundraising strategy after seeing a downward trend in charitable donations. The recent downturn, coupled with rising need for food, is stretching the organization very thin. Justin Hardy has the story.
Emphasis on the importance of setting realistic goals and celebrating small victories, both in fitness and in life, is the #1 item of importance for Push Fitness.
Individual financial donations are down nearly 30%, while corporate financial donations are down 60%, according to the RFDA's year-end report. Local food donations are also down 27%, and food donated by local businesses is down 31%, with a 30% increase over the last 2 years of people accessing food banks and meal programs. RFDA Executive Director Volker Krom says the organization doesn't have the stockpile needed for the coming months.
That is really frightening because that tells me that our donor base either can't afford it or they're giving in other ways, which is all right. But the problem is then we have to find ways of remediating the shortfall coming the 2025, make up new strategies for how do we replace the funds that we're short or the food that we're short.
Without the food or financial donations coming in, the RFDA will need to transition to a different model of outsourcing bulk food from outside of Northwestern Ontario. Crom says they're looking for bulk wherever they can across the country.
We've invested in freezers and processing facilities here so that we brought in 8,000 kilograms of fish, whole fish. So that's a major shift in our ability to be able to distribute healthy food. But also, we're going to looking for sourcing more vegetables and other foods that may exist in various places of Canada so that we can bring it in and we can distribute it to offset the local shortfall.
To help with the shortfall, Crom is asking donors to take advantage of the charitable tax deduction ahead of the tax season. The RFDA might also take a look at doing a 50-50 draw as a way to prevent scaling back their food programs. Justin Hardy, TBT News.
We're now just a few days into the new year, and it looks like many Thunder Bay residents are trying to get fitter and healthier in 2025. We headed to Push Fitness to speak to people about their New Year's resolutions and their goals driving their workouts. Jaden Billick has more.
Emphasis on the importance of setting realistic goals and celebrating small victories, both in fitness and in life, is the #1 item of importance for Push Fitness owner and general manager Jen Bisignano. She says embracing who you are and how hard you've worked to get where you are today is the first step of practicing self-love. And the key focus in her facility is improving something that's already great about yourself.
I know this is a time where a lot of gyms discuss New Year's resolutions and they try to get a whole bunch of new people in to identify what it is that they want to make changes about themselves. A lot of people say the expression, new year, new you. From my standpoint as a business person, I just morally can't run a business based on what people find is faulty about themselves.
One thing I appreciate about myself is just that I'm an outgoing guy. I like to meet new people and learn new things about them, and I think that's why I like the Push Fitness community so much, because everybody gets along with each other, and it's just a very positive environment here. Awesome. To benefit my life, I think I'm just going to try and be an optimistic guy and look on the bright side of things, and just try and be nice to everybody else and be the best version of myself.
The gym members gave some insight into their 2025 mindset. Their responses included striving for better health to embracing personal strengths, which look different for everyone. Gym goer Ben Reinanen gave some great insight behind the journey he's about to begin.
We'll start with one thing you appreciate about yourself.
Just being able to be physical and active and be able to attend Push Fitness every day is a great thing for me. So just to continue with my fitness journey, and then obviously becoming a father for the first time is going to be very exciting, and just the growing pains with that, and then it's very exciting times.
I think just like my dedication to my health, to my physical health, my mental health, my emotional well-being. Every year I try to set new goals, kind of prioritizing that, so that would be one thing I appreciate about myself. I'm definitely looking at developing some more hobbies, more like on my creative side, so that's going to be a big one for me.
Always good. Do you have any ideas in mind?
Sewing.
I appreciate everything. I'm a grateful guy. We live in a great city, and our weather's not that bad compared to all the floods and hurricanes and that all over the world, and it's a good life. I have to tell you, I don't have any really resolutions myself, but I do thank God I'm Canadian.
Jaden Billick, TBT News.
I thank God I'm Canadian too, because local racers were making final preparations over the weekend as the Thunder Bay Autosport Club's ice racing season is right around the corner. Organizers and drivers are eager to get back on the ice after having to cancel last year's races. Jessica Clement reports.
Thunder Bay Autosport Club members were doing their final inspections on Saturday to make sure their cars were in tip-top shape for the ice racing season.
We do a tech inspection on all of the vehicles to make sure that all of their safety equipment is up to date, that the various parts on the mechanical side of the vehicle, that exhaust is properly secured, windshield wipers work, all the lights are functional. When we go to start the first race, we know that all the cars have been looked at, they're up to date and that there will be no safety issues is really what we're concerned about.
Club President Gary Adamko notes 20 cars in total will be participating in this year's races, 10 in the rubber to ice category and 10 in the studded category. He notes drivers are especially excited to race this season, as last year's season had to be completely cancelled due to warm weather and unsafe ice conditions. This year, the ice is in much better shape.
We've already been out 2 or 3 times doing ice measurements, and we're off by about a half an inch right now. And we know that with this cold weather that we've been experiencing, it'll gain that additional half an inch to an inch easily, and so we'll be able to run on the 12th of January.
The season starts on the 12th and will take place every Sunday at Mission Bay, with the final set of races on March 9th. Corey Dumoulin is eager to start and was one of the drivers getting his car inspected at Central Auto Parts over the weekend.
Today we just got it up on the rack, went through it, made sure everything was good and up to spec. All our belts and everything's just within regulation and good for the season. Just hoping we get a good full season and good weather and just get started as soon as we can.
More information about this year's ice racing season can be found on the Thunder Bay Autosport Club's website and social media pages. Jessica Clement, TBT News.